All right, NTT83, non-tactical Taylor 83 on Instagram out here at the range. Finishing the final testing on the ATI galeo. It is colder than snot out here. So the only modifications I've done to this firearm is installed a Wolf Extra Power recoil spring as recommended by Galil Hub. And I did put in the K&S piston, which really turned out it wasn't needed. It is properly gassed, but I'm going to leave it in anyway because I went through the trouble of, purchasing it and, installing it. So, got some targets downrange. Going to go ahead and pop a few shots off. Let's see if we are on. And she runs. So the story behind the ATI is I wanted a galil, I wanted something that was going to function properly. ATI has made some significant improvements to their manufacturing process, assembly to, you can see it's running a surplus magazine. Jamie Ramos at ATI just directly told me that they had tested the mag well, and that was one of the QC processes or improvements that they had made, is to make sure that they did run off of surplus magazines. Also, the receivers are made of, I think, 4150 steel instead of 41 or instead of 4041, some shit like that. The barrels are US made. Every other component on the firearm minus the receiver is Israeli surplus. I've had zero reliability issues. Outside of when I first bought the rifle, it would not run off steel case. Brown Bear, it would run fine off of toolless steel case. It would not work. Austin and Galil Hub, I hit him up, was like, dude, what can I do? I bought a honing brush, chucked it in a drill, hit it a few times, polished the feed ramps because it's not a chrome line bore, polished the throat and the chamber, actually, not the feed ramps. And after that, I've had zero issues running steel case, brass, mixture of whatever ammo that you want to throw in this baby, she will eat. I'll post some pictures or hopefully do another video later showing you guys the internals and what type of wear patterns are happening. I'm up to about 980 rounds and whatever, like 7 to 10 shots I just did. So bang for the buck with ATI improving their processes. I love it. It's not canted, the sights are straight on, you get the classic galil look. It's just a very fun platform, very fun rifle to shoot. So I was very happy to be able to get out here today and go ahead and put a few more rounds through it since installing the piston and the extra power recoil spring. The reason I did the extra power recoil spring is I was getting a little bit of wear on the front lug, and that sometimes is an indication that the rifle could be overgassed. So didn't want to cause any damage to the rifle. I've had arsenals out of the box that are overgassed and had to do a K&S piston. So anyway, went ahead and did the K&S piston, went with the extra power spring. The piston has to be turned all the way off for this rifle to cycle, and that's with the original spring or the extra power. So I just went ahead and put the extra power spring back in here. You can tell a difference with recoil mitigation. It is a much smoother, softer shooting rifle now after doing, changing out those two components. But, it's a 5.56, so you're not getting a lot of recoil anyway. But highly recommend. I'm not a plug for ATI. I don't get any money from them or free shit. But I will admit that I was in great, extensive contact with, their rep, discussing the firearm and all the specifications. So I do know quite a bit about their manufacturing process, as well as, the components, the quality control improvements that they made to make this a much more reliable and user-friendly platform. The complaint about the originals where they did not accept surplus magazines that well without modification, and so they changed that. They changed the geometry of the magwell, the timing and the assembly process of the barrel was modified and changed a little bit to meet better specifications. So they did their homework. They listened to us, the buyers, end users. Anyway, they took feedback well. They did the modifications. 2021 production, 2022 production of these is fucking amazing. Check one out if you want to. If not, don't.